part of your job as a leader is to remove obstacles for your people. So I know business owners, we like this cliche quote of like, I'm not a business owner, I'm a firefighter because all I do is put out fires. After a while, the fires should be few and far between because you're not just putting it out for that day. You are creating a simplified, more streamlined system to remove the obstacles a la the fire that you keep coming up against with your people and their ability to execute on the business.
How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. Today I'm joined by Sean Ryder. What's up, man? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. My daughter's across the room yelling, Jeff Smith, because she heard the intro play. So that may be audible on the podcast. It may not, but we're rolling with it. It's a good Monday for us. I don't know what day this one's dropping, Monday or Thursday, but good start to the week. It's good weather, but I think we're going to have rain the rest of the week. So where are the Smiths at currently?
We are in Illinois for one more day, and then I am headed back up to northern Indiana to get our RV back and trade this one in to swap out. And then I'm going to take 8 people to the Notre Dame game this weekend. And then the day after the game, we are busting it for Albuquerque, New Mexico for Hot Air Balloon Festival.
That's a far distance. You guys are going from, where'd you say, Indiana to New Mexico? That's cutting across the country diagonally, yeah. I think, if my geology's right.
Well, we're going to do a big L. We're going straight across Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, and then we're going to spend a couple days in Colorado Springs and then down to Albuquerque. But So what most people don't understand is there's this entire full-time families community of like homeschooling people and families, and we're part of it. And so they're hosting this rally, and there's the world's largest hot air balloon festival or something going on. And so we're camping on the infield with 25 other families that are all full-timers as well. So it's just going to be like amazing for our kids. And the first week they have all these events planned. Like the kids have to stand up, they have to start a business. And on Friday, there's like a flea market where they sell all their stuff. So they have to come up with either a product or a service. And then I buy them a table, and then they present their stuff and sell it at this marketplace. So there's little lessons like that. They've got stuff for them to work on the balloon cruise and do things like that. And then, so we're dry camping for 2 weeks. It should be very interesting. So we're running off of like solar and generators and not having power hookups, and it'll be interesting.
Are the Smith kids going to be a part of the business building workshop?
Duh. I've got an earring store. I've got a scarf store. I've got a minifig exchange going, and then nothing for my 5-year-old yet. I don't know what she's doing. Probably selling kisses.
It's probably selling kisses. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, because you guys are going to RV family festival, you probably have to be pretty good at interacting with people. But today's topic, we just dropped an episode on the macro level areas of business skills that most small business owners should be focusing on and that they need. Those things were operations, being good at the thing that it is that you're doing, marketing, getting eyeballs on your business. People need to know who you are and what you're doing. Even if you've been in business for 10 years, you need to act and play under the assumption that no one knows who you are. You should be marketing and branding all the time. And finally, sales. Okay, fantastic. Those are the big topics that we need to swallow. But on a day-to-day basis, what are the maybe soft skills or other skills that business owners probably need to be in tune with on a regular basis, in your opinion, or based on your experiences? Where do these where do these business owners fail, or where do you see the most stress or contention, friction that they're having in their businesses?
Ooh, man. I think complexity. They overcomplicate what they're trying to do, and it's unnecessary. It's simple fundamentals. Like if you don't know what to do, call your clients that are already paying you and get to know them better, and like just understand their needs. Like a client that's already paying you is easier to sell to again and upsell again than going out and getting a new client. So I think it's just a simple thing of going back to, like, not to bastardize the last episode, but like keeping the focus on the thing. Like there's a lot of gurus and business coaches out there right now saying that like you don't sell more than one product until you sell $1 million of that product annually. And like, because otherwise you're overcomplicating it. And from years of mentoring service-based businesses, I can tell you for a fact that like that happens all the time. They try to do something. They're at $250,000 of gross revenue, and they're like, well, what we need is this $10,000 a month Facebook ad campaign. And I'm like, that is not what you need. You need to block and tackle, and you need to do the fundamentals over and over and over and over again until you're sick of doing them. And then you need to do them for another year after that. And so I mean, not getting distracted because you're either exhausted, stressed, or just ready to quit. And like, usually that's when the distractions set in.
Yeah.
There's two times when you're moderately successful, you have a tendency to get distracted because you're like comfortable now. So now you're like, okay, let's do some wazoo shit. Or when you're like at your breaking point and can't like make that breakthrough mark, you're like breaking even, taking home a little bit of money, and like you're looking for the next thing to take you to the next level, and you're distracted and you're trying to bring something in from the outside to do that. Change your entire product offering, offer 3 more things, bring on some marketing company, like that type of shit.
Yeah.
So,
well, don't get me started on the business owners that haven't defined what it is that they actually want, and they just default to more different growth at the sake of just growing. I mean, how many business owners have we seen that were actually crushing it, and then all of a sudden, like, they get bored, and 3 months later, they're like, I'm just going to completely change this thing, and then a year later, they're literally going out of business. And I'm like, you had the business that you wanted. You had the business that you set out to build, and you could have just kept getting better, and you would have grown incrementally over time, because you became what we said on the last episode. You became the person for that thing. You became the unofficial mayor of your town for lawn service or gyms or fitness, whatever it may be. And then you just completely just poured fire on this thing and it burned it to the ground. For me, I like what you said about complexity. I mean, listen, yes, business is about the fundamentals. Yes, some big businesses are huge. I mean, when you're talking about a lot of zeros after a number, as my phone starts playing a podcast that I didn't even touch, you start talking about like the complexities on relationships between, we use how many different vendors. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about small businesses. Where are you getting your product from? Who are you hiring? And how do you execute on that service? So at the end of the day, the complexity side that I've seen is like, it's kind of like this dichotomy between some business owners. They don't even have one SOP. So they're struggling because they don't even have a simple system in place. And so they try and be too simple. And it's like, well, I told them twice how to do it. It's like, no, they just like, you need to have an SOP and let someone be able to read it and watch the video and do it as many times as they need to before they get good at it, and train them appropriately. And then you go to the complete opposite end, where it's like they have software upon software upon software. This software does this software does that, this software does this, and this one does this. And then you need to take all 4 of those to get the KPI report that we actually want. And it's like, it's just too complex. And like, if we could just go back to ground zero and start over, I think that's really hard for a lot of business owners to do, because they're just in the groove of paying for all these things. Simplify your operations. What are the, in our 90-day plans with the men, we do, what do you need to start doing? What do you need to stop doing? And what do you need to continue doing? Do the same thing in your business. Ask your people, not just you're talking about talking to customers, talk to your employees. What are the things that are hanging them up from getting done what they need to get done? Where are their frustrations at? You, as the business owner, if you're not necessarily in the day to day executing on the service, part of your job as a leader, not only, we haven't even touched communication with a 10-foot pole yet. I bet that's going to come up in a minute. Part of your job as a leader is to remove obstacles for your people. So I know business owners, we like this cliche quote of like, I'm not a business owner, I'm a firefighter because all I do is put out fires. After a while, the fires should be few and far between because you're not just putting it out for that day. You are creating a simplified, more streamlined system to remove the obstacles a la the fire that you keep coming up against with your people and their ability to execute on the business. So for me, Jeff, that's what it'd be, is like you're either too simple to where you don't have any systems, or you're overly complex and it's creating hurdles and frustrations for your people. Talk to your people, and your job as a leader is to get rid of the obstacles. And what that is, in a simple sense, it's problem solve. You are a problem solver once you get to this level of small business to where you're not executing the day-to-day operations of your business.
Yeah. I would agree though, but I think it is a difficult chasm to bridge, if you will, because you can will your business to $1 million, couple $1,000,000, depending on the industry you're in, without any systems and processes. Quite frankly, as a one-man band with a personality that can sell like a motherfucker, you could take your business to 7 figures. And it's the next step of like bringing in that level of structure, but not overdoing it. We all have a tendency to overdo it. I am the most guilty person of doing this ever, because I came out of a corporate structure where I was using Six Sigma and all these project management tools, and I worked for a Fortune 50 company for almost 2 decades. So I then start a small service-based business and I overcomplicate the fuck out of it. Like, hey, we're $1 billion organization and there's 3 of us sitting here at this table. Let's talk about like project management. And like, these guys' eyes glaze over. They've never worked for anybody before. They've never been a part of an organization. Like, and I tried to stick with it without having the flexibility and the wherewithal to recognize where I needed to be flexible. Like, what are we trying to accomplish here? And I see business owners do this over and over again. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to get accountability on like how your employees are spending their time at the end of the day? Like, well, then you don't need this like $100 a month software system to track their every movement, especially if there's 2 of you in the organization. Like, so I don't want to go way down that rabbit hole, but I think that business owners have a tendency to overcomplicate things, or they think that it's totally going to allow them to abdicate responsibility. Like, this software will now fill in for me and I can go to Puerto Rico and never pay attention to this again. Right. And
well, that's what Tim Ferriss recommends in the 4-hour work week. Come on, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some balance in between that. The
Sure.
4-hour work week and the 60-hour work week.
Yeah.
You should settle somewhere in between.
I like the 4-hour work day or the 4-day work week, man. Don't even that's another topic for another day. At the end of the day, I think one of the biggest things, not to harp on this too much, is like, you have to become, for lack of a better term, you have to become a better person as you start building a business. And I don't mean like just being like this hunky dory, like don't do anything wrong. What I mean is like, you have to be genuinely good at talking with people, understanding people, listening to people. And I'm saying it from my mistakes. I'm not really what I call a people person. I like staying at my house by myself and with my kids. I don't get high off going into town and meeting new people. But I have to get better at talking with people on my team, a la getting rid of their obstacles. So
Yep.
not only getting frustrated because they're frustrated, it's like, okay, what is the actual problem that they're trying to solve? And what is the issue they keep running into? And listening to them, asking over time, asking them if they have 2 or 3 suggestions and which one of those 3 is their recommendation. So they feel like they have a little bit of skin in the game and the say. And at the end of the day, just understanding how people want to be spoken to, and not everyone's the same. So this may not be a perfect answer, but I kind of did like, the 5 love languages for businesses. And it's kind of the same, right? Like if someone likes words of affirmation, you can't just slip them $100 gift card to Starbucks when they do a good job. That's not going to resonate with them. Whereas someone else, that will resonate with them because you see them spending $7 on a Starbucks coffee and you just gave them a $100 Starbucks gift card, and they're going to be like, wow, that person recognizes me because they know I like Starbucks. Like some people just want to go to lunch with the boss, by themselves without it being a meeting. Right? Like that's another thing. Don't even get me started on how often small businesses have meetings. And it's like, really, you need another meeting for the same thing that we talked about? And like meaningful meetings are way different than just having a standing meeting every Wednesday to catch up on what happened. So I think those are the big things: is working on yourself as an individual, becoming someone that can understand and communicate and listen to people. And again, at the end of the day, whether you want to call it a firefighter or a problem solver, you should make things easier for your people. And at the end of the day, I don't think you can do that if you do not elevate yourself up and out of the day-to-day grinding of your business, which we've talked about that on other podcast episodes on how to delegate that out. Is there anything top of mind, Jeff, that you might be able to help the people with in some of the smaller level, softer skills that they run into?
No, I like that you said your main job is to remove roadblocks, because like that's your only job. The reality of it is that's your only job. If you're still selling, if you're still marketing, if you're still doing all this stuff, you need to make a plan to track out of that. But the removal of roadblocks for your people so that they can do what you hired them to do, and like that's the most important thing you can possibly be doing. Because if they can fulfill on their main objectives at a higher level, it's going to only benefit the organization. And your job is to get those, like that's what we play the role of business owner as. Like, I don't want to say CEO, but like it's business owner. Your job is to be the insulation between the problems and your people so that they can do what they love to do, which is like deliver the goods for your customers and clients. And so, yeah, I mean, and that doesn't change. That's something you really can't, that's a really difficult thing to outsource or fill in for. And like the people that you're talking about at this business tier, they're not big enough yet. So like, because I mean, eventually you could bring on a C-suite executive that actually did that type of thing, but you're talking north of $5 million in revenue, at least, probably, in that business to make that justifiable, if not even 10 million. So just something to think about there. Yeah, but I mean, your people are really your biggest investment. The other thing that I was going to say on the last show is that, like, I think that the main thing that people need to understand as they go into business is that, like, you need to be reinvesting in your business as much as possible. And so like the delayed gratification of like when this thing is going to pay out is really, really something that you need to structure your mindset towards on the way in. And I don't think a lot of people do, because they're jumping from another job, or they're trying to make money to make ends meet, things like that. The ability to reinvest and delay that gratification is going to build you a much more sustainable, successful business. Because to Sean's point about becoming the mayor in your community, the reality of small business at this level, small to medium-sized business, is like, it's basically a game of attrition. And like, if you can survive for 7 to 12 years, you will pop out the other end of that 7 to 12 years, and you'll look up one day and you'll be like, holy shit, like, look at what we've built. And it will suck for a long time until then, most likely. But like, once you see that, like 7 to 12 year mark, it just becomes easier and easier. And if you focus on those fundamentals, you focus on bringing in great people, training them and being good to them, your competitors will fall off. Like, they just won't stick around for as long as you have done it. And that gives you brand recognition and community recognition and trust that you can't make up for with some technological tool or AI or fucking 18 months in business, or let alone 6 months in business. I mean, the staying power is something that's super important. So like, just that's a mindset thing, and that's understanding that, like, the ups and downs, and really working on your mental game with regards to entrepreneurialism and what you're dealing with. So
what you're saying is business is not easy, and not very many people can actually relate to you. I think there's a big difference between the stressed out employee of a big corporation or small business and the stressed out business owner of a big business or uh, small business or big corporation. And so I think that emphasizes the need for you to get around other people who are doing the thing. And that's part of what the Tactical Empire Inner Circle is. It's getting men specifically that are high achievers and building businesses or building big investment portfolios. And this is a place not only for them, we do recognize wins, but ultimately this is a place for them to share their struggles and obstacles, and whether that be personal or professional. And very simply put, one of the men was texting me something they were going through personally. I know they're struggling with some things professionally, but they were texting me about personal things, and I just kind of just related to him on when I went through the same thing. And his response back was, "Thank you for letting me know that I'm not alone." And it's like, I mean, the power in that is worth the financial and time investment to be surrounded by like-minded men, specifically, that we have in the inner circle. So I think that's a good place to tell the people, like, if you're looking for that, that's what we do, that's who we are, and that's what we want, and that's what we're building, is a place for you to come in and be able to recognize, hey, I'm struggling with this, does anyone have any suggestions, or can someone just hear me out and let me get it out of my head? Because if you don't get it out, you're going to take it out on people that don't deserve it, and that's either going to be your family or your employees, and that's ultimately how you become part of the small businesses that fail. You have to take care of yourself, and part of the inner circle is doing that physically and mentally. So we are here for you. Jeff, if there's anything else, let them know. If not, send the people out.
absolutely, guys. Hey, you guys can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join the Facebook group of the Tactical Empire community. It's a free group. We put content out there regularly for you guys. If you want to hit us up, you can send us a DM anytime, and we're happy to chat. If you feel like the inner circle is something that might be a good fit for you, we have our fall meetup coming up in just a month. So you've got time to hop in there and meet with the guys in person in Phoenix. It's going to be a great time. A couple days of planning, laying out your vision, and some camaraderie, and getting a plan for the fourth quarter to kick ass, and getting ready for 2025, and really looking to accelerate your game. So have a great week. Keep kicking ass. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you all.